The year was 2020. The world locked indoors, but the markets were alive, wild, chaotic, and unstoppable. I remember the glow of my laptop at 2 a.m., the screen casting long shadows on bare walls. I was broke, and behind me was a woman I thought I loved, eyes heavy with dreams of marriage, a home, a future I couldn't yet give. Then the Bitcoin rally began, and with it, so did my hope. A few trades, and suddenly, I wasn't broke anymore. I was alive, flushed with numbers climbing higher, balances doubling overnight, and for moments, I believed I had found the doorway out of my struggle. But the broke man inside me wasn't satisfied. So, I risked more. Each win felt like oxygen, each loss like suffocation. And when the inevitable crash came, I didn't stop. I couldn't, so I borrowed more, chasing the illusion that I could get it all back, but I lost it all again. And by the time it came to an end, I wasn't just broke. I was buried under debt. And the woman I thought I loved, she left my broke ass for an older man who could give her the stability I never could. And that is when I learned the cruelest truth of trading. The market doesn't just take your money. It exposes the weight you already carry. Trading when you are broke is like trying to swim with a heavy stone tied around your neck. No matter how skilled you are, you will eventually sink. When your bills are piling up, when rent is overdue, or when your family is looking at you for support, every trade you place stops being just about the market. It becomes about survival. Suddenly, that small pullback feels like a personal attack. Every losing trade feels like disaster, and your decisions are driven by fear and desperation instead of logic. This is why broke traders often gamble instead of trade. They over-leverage, take impulsive positions, and chase losses because deep down, they are not just trading. They are begging the market to rescue them. And the market doesn't save desperate people. It only punishes them. If you truly want to succeed, step back and get your foundation right first. Secure a steady income to pay your bills. Build a little cushion of savings. Only then can you approach trading from a position of strength instead of weakness. Because when money pressure is off your shoulders, your mind is clearer, you become patient, and you can wait for high-quality setups instead of forcing trades to your expenses. In 1976, a young trader named Paul Tudor Jones, who would later become one of the most successful hedge fund managers in history, blew up his account. He lost so much money so quickly that his broker had to step in and cut him off. That painful experience could have ended his career before it even began. But instead, it became his tuition, the lesson that shaped his discipline and risk management for the decades ahead. And that is one of the truths most new traders don't want to hear. You will probably blow up your first account. Almost everyone does. It is not because the market is unfair, but because inexperience makes mistakes inevitable. New traders over-leverage, chase every move, and think a string of wins means they figured the market out. Then, one loss spirals into 3, and before they know it, the account is gone. The mistake isn't in losing, the mistake is starting too big. If your first account is small, blowing it up won't destroy you. It will sting, yes, but it will also teach you lessons you can't get from a textbook. How it feels to lose, how emotions creep in, and why discipline matters. That is why seasoned traders treat their first account like tuition, making it the cost of learning the game. The market will take its fee. The only question is, will you pay with small, manageable losses that make you stronger, or with everything you have, leaving you broken before you have even begun? Every trader walks into the market carrying hidden flaws: fear of missing out, impatience, greed, ego, the need to always be right. And at first, those weaknesses stay buried. You might even get away with them for a while, catching a few wins and possibly feeling untouchable. But the market has a way of hunting them down, dragging them into the light and punishing you until you either fix them or quit. A good example is the Richard Dennis's famous turtle traders experiment. He taught a group of complete beginners his exact system. Some of them thrived and built fortunes. Others, using the same rules, lost everything. The difference wasn't the system, it was psychology. For some, impatience led to breaking rules. For others, ego stopped them from taking losses quickly. The market didn't care who they were. It simply magnified their weaknesses until those traders could no longer survive. The brutal truth is, if you fear missing out, the market will tempt you with fake breakouts. If you are impatient, it will grind sideways until you force a bad trade. If you can't let go of ego, it will hand you loss after loss until you either accept being wrong or blow up your account. This is why trading isn't just about strategy. It is much more about self-awareness. The market is like a mirror. It reflects your deepest flaws back at you with painful clarity. And until you face those flaws head-on and build discipline to control them, the market will keep punishing you over and over again. In most areas of life, effort equals reward. Study longer, train harder, put in more hours, and you usually get results. School, sports, careers all work this way, but trading is the cruel exception. The market doesn't care how many hours you have studied charts, how many books you have read, or how many late nights you have spent analyzing setups. You can work 12 hours a day and still lose if you execute poorly. This is because the market rewards discipline and precision, not effort alone. Think of it like poker. You can study probabilities and memorize every hand combination. But if you can't control your emotions when real money is on the line, all that knowledge vanishes the moment you go all in out of frustration. Trading works the same way. Jack Schwager's Market Wizards interviews revealed this over and over again. Some of the most successful traders admitted they weren't the smartest in the room, and they didn't spend the most hours buried in research. Their edge came from sticking to their rules under pressure. Meanwhile, others who worked tirelessly but couldn't stay disciplined lost fortunes. The lesson here is that hard work builds knowledge, but execution builds profit. The charts don't care how badly you want to succeed. They don't reward sweat, sleepless nights, or good intentions. They only respond to traders who can apply their edge with patience, discipline, and consistency. In this business, effort is the preparation, execution is the result, and without execution, effort is worthless. Most traders won't admit this, but many lose money not because they lack knowledge, but because deep down, they are trading for excitement. Think about it. The rush of pressing the buy button, watching price spike in your favor, the thrill of quick wins. It feels good and almost addictive. That little dopamine hit is the same rush gamblers chase at a casino. But the problem is, the market isn't designed to feed your adrenaline. If you are seeking thrills, you are simply gambling, not trading. Real trading is the opposite of what most people imagine. It is not flashy, it is not thrilling. It is not some high-speed game where every move is life or death. Professional trading is boring, it is repetitive, and it is systematic. You wait for your setup, you follow your rules, you manage your risk, and you do it again and again, almost like a factory worker repeating the same process. In fact, if your trading feels too exciting, that is usually a warning sign. It means you are probably over-leveraging, over-trading, or making impulsive decisions for the sake of doing something. And that is exactly when the market punishes you. The traders who last, the ones who quietly build wealth year after year, don't chase adrenaline. They chase consistency. Their charts aren't a casino. They are a workplace. Every decision is made for profit, not for thrill. So ask yourself honestly, do you want to be entertained or do you want to be profitable? Because the market won't let you have both. Every trader has an opinion. You look at the chart, read the news, maybe even watch a few expert videos, and you start to build a story in your head. The market should go up. It has to go up. But if you don't know already, the market doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care about your analysis, your conviction, or how many hours you spend studying. Price moves where it wants to move, not where you wish it would. This is where most traders fall into a dangerous trap. They get attached to their opinions. Instead of listening to what the market is showing them, they dig in their heels. If price goes against them, they don't cut the trade. They double down, convinced the market will eventually come back. Sometimes it does, but most times it doesn't. And by then, the damage is already done. The market exists a humble personal bias. Every time you try to force your will onto it, you will eventually pay the price. The only thing that matters is what price action is doing right now, not what you think it should do. Professional traders know this. They may have an opinion, but it is always light, flexible, and disposable. If the market proves them wrong, they don't argue. They don't hold on out of pride. What they do is adapt. The ones who survive and thrive aren't married to their predictions. They are married to their process, their discipline, and their ability to respond to what's real, not what's imagined. One of the hardest truths in trading is this: you will lose, and not just once, you will lose a lot. Every trader dreams of that perfect win streak, but the reality is far different. Losses are not accidents or signs of failure. They are built into the very structure of trading. Even the best traders in the world, the hedge fund managers with decades of experience, lose trades regularly. Think of it this way: trading is like fishing. You cast your line again and again. Some casts bring nothing, some bring small catches, and a few, and the rare ones land something big. If you quit after every empty cast, you will never be around for the moment the big fish bites. But the problem is most new traders can't accept losing. Rather, their egos get involved. A single red trade feels like a personal attack, like proof they are not good enough. And instead of cutting the loss and moving on, they hold, they add to the position, or they chase another setup out of desperation. And that's how a small, ordinary loss snowballs into a disaster. The truth is, losses are tuition. They are the cost of playing this game. Just like a doctor spends years in school before earning their first paycheck, a trader must pay in losses before they ever see consistent profits. The key is to keep those losses small, controlled, and expected, but never catastrophic. Winning in trading is about surviving them, learning from them, and continuing forward. If you can't stomach losing, you will never survive long enough to win. Ask any losing trader why they failed, and most will blame the market. The market was manipulated. The news ruined my trade. My system stopped working. But the uncomfortable truth is, it is rarely the market that destroys traders. It's the traders themselves. Trading isn't about predicting the next candle. It is about controlling the voice in your head that screams, "Don't miss this move, get in now. You can't take another loss. Double your size and win it back. Just one more trade. Maybe this time will be different." These aren't market signals. They are emotional impulses, fear, greed, impatience, and ego, all trying to hijack your decisions. Think of trading like driving a high-speed car. The engine, your strategy, might be powerful, but if the driver panics, oversteers, or slams the brakes at the wrong moment, the car crashes. The same goes for trading. No strategy can protect you if you don't have the discipline to stick to it. This is why two traders can use the same system and get completely different results. In the end, the market doesn't need to beat you. Your lack of self-control will do the job for it. And this is why I will always say that trading is 90% psychology and 10% strategy. And until you learn to manage yourself, your emotions, your impulses, your patience, No system, indicator, or strategy will save you. In the end, the harsh truth is that you are never really trading the market. You are trading against yourself. And until you win that battle, the charts will keep replaying the same story and with the same painful ending. If you are new to trading and you are feeling stuck or even ready to quit, I get it because I have been there. But before you walk away, watch this video. It will likely change the way you see the game. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you want more, you should check the description for a link to our Telegram channel. Until next time, may the trend be with you.